Sup YouTube, this is Slide 8 Fry here. Good morning and happy Thanksgiving. So Scott the Waz uploaded a new video yesterday about a subject I didn't actually really know existed. Let's check it out.
Hey y'all, Scott here. What do you do when you want to play games but you're on a budget? Find a new hobby. One of my favorite pastimes as a kid was to go to the dollar store.
Dollar General seems to be a common one, but the funny thing is, like, we used to have one here in Santa Rosa. It's gone. It's been replaced by a Dollar Tree. We have Dollar Trees all over the place here. But the nearest Dollar General I could ever find is in some town that's like 2 hours away that's, you can tell is kind of run down. I don't know, I guess Dollar General's in the lower income areas or something.
I live in Ohio. Your hobby's either that or getting shot. Listen, it was all about walking in there with $5 and leaving it with a weekend. I'll buy silly string there. That was so fucking funny. I spent the only dollar I had on a whoopee cushion and wanted to let the world know, so I stomped on it and wasted $1. And then there was the ice cream section and all the office supplies, the snacks. I would buy banquet meals there, and we know that because I'll be dead in 3 years. I think I really liked it because for a kid on a $20 a week allowance without having to save up, the dollar store was where I could splurge. But what made the dollar store magical was seeing products there that you didn't always associate with being cheap. Movies, either on DVD or VHS. Yeah, when those were there, that was pretty cool. Hell, even now, like, looking through the movies on display, these are some pretty big-name modern flicks. Many times these stores would just have really old, mediocre, and forgotten DVDs, but now when I see a modern movie for sale at Dollar General, you get why you hear this. Movies would usually cost $5 a pop, maybe 10 if they were feeling racy. I mean, in my neck of the woods, we have Dollar General, Family Dollar, and Dollar Tree. Only one of these sticks to the everything's a dollar or less ideology.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch! Even my beloved Five Below, as deserted as it is, they've always stuck to the mentality of everything at their store is $5 or below. But then they increased it to 10. Where are the protesters? Doesn't even matter because they're selling stuff for 20 now. Is nothing sacred anymore. But hey, these stores focus on selling goods for cheap, which makes finding normally more premium products there exciting. Video games have always been a more expensive form of entertainment, and with DVD and CD players being more widespread than specific game consoles, it's obvious why dollar stores would focus more on those than this. You can't just have PlayStation games in stock. You need Xbox, Nintendo, PC. It gets to a point where you just say, just sell that. However, that doesn't mean video games are never at these places. You just have to hunt for them. So, let's go on a journey and see what kind of games we can get at stores that just flat out barely sell video games. First up, Dollar General. You may know them as one of the most popular low-end variety stores in the country. I know them as a place where they display condoms in a Ninja Turtles underwear box.
That's hilarious. I know them as a dollar store that actually is failing. I also know them. This was years ago, so maybe it's different, but like 8 years ago, so this is it may be different, but Dollar General, I've also heard, is one of the worst places you can ever work for. I don't know if that's still the case, though. But I imagine they don't pay you very well. I mean, if you're going to sell products for $1, typically, you're going to pay minimum wage. It's just how it is. It's math. Although places like Walmart that sell things for cheap, but not necessarily $1, they could easily afford to pay above minimum wage. But that's really funny. Condoms in a TMNT box. But yeah, it's funny how Dollar General is like really popular or like really common, but in my area they don't exist like at all. Dollar Tree, now that's really common here. I've literally only seen one Family Dollar in my entire life. I think I saw it like in Oakland or something. I don't remember where I saw it. But, yeah. It's kind of like how Pizza Hut is apparently the largest pizza chain in the whole country, but we only have one Pizza Hut in the entirety of my area. The other ones are just Pizza Hut Expresses within Targets and some Taco Bells. That's it. Papa John's is really huge, but we literally have only one in my area. It might be because we have a lot of round table pizzas here. Mountain Mike's. We also have a local chain called Mary's Pizza Shack that started here in Sonoma County. That's really huge here. It actually has spread to Sacramento, and I saw one as far north as Redding, which is nearby Mount Shasta and not too far from the Oregon border. So that's kind of far. That it's kind of surprising that there's one that far north. Anyway, I guess it's just different here.
I remember a specific game I bought at Dollar General when I was a kid. Nicktoons Winners Cup Racing for the PC. Scott, you're so fucking cool. Tell us more. I think if they feel comfortable selling anything in dollar stores, it's PC games and software. Everybody owns my worst fucking nightmare. It was like $10. It was a video game, and I love Nickelodeon. Everything was adding up to this being Scott's best investment yet. It never worked. Of course, this was Scott's 2007 Windows Vista PC, which put him right on the track to why you don't give a shit about him, but this game never worked. It wouldn't boot past the installation screen. I guess it was a sequel to Nicktoons Racing, or a dequel? Like, Jesus Christ, no wonder this was at Dollar General. How is this a game from 2006? Well, I guess I wasn't missing out on much with this title, but seeing a video game at a store like this, though, I think the rush alone was more than worth the asking price. That's why people love Adderall. But nowadays, I can find actual video games at Dollar General. Like FIFA 16, Angry Birds Star Wars, Mighty Number 9. Don't lie, you'd also say, oh boy, video games! Now, why these games specifically? Why are they at the dollar store and are basically the only games at the dollar store? Well, I've been to enough fucking pigsties to understand. See, I think dollar stores generally buy off the unsold stock of bigger stores. Whatever Walmart doesn't eat, Five Below will clean its plate. I mean, look at all this and tell me this isn't just a clearance bin. So, whatever. Dollar General will buy pallets worth of games that nobody could sell, so they probably got them for an insanely low price, and bam, video games at Dollar General. Well, let's see if I can get my $10 out of FIFA 16. You guys couldn't have spent the big bucks and nabbed FIFA 17? Well, it is an Xbox One game I bought at the dollar store. $9 more than it's worth. I'm not even sure if this is brand new. Dollar General does this thing where, like, what the hell? Why is it printed on the cover? What about Angry Birds Star Wars on the 3DS?
That's weird.
Interesting system choice, but the game makes sense. This title is an amalgamation of two things mom knows your kid kind of likes, but that's the extent of it. So, bam! Buy their Christmas present here, why don't you? So these two games are kind of typical, everybody knows them type games. They were cheap to get, so out of all video games, these make the most sense rotting here. And then there's Mighty Number 9. I mean, why do you go to the dollar store? That's what I thought. It's obvious Mighty Number 9 didn't sell well because it's Mighty Number 9. Angry Birds Star Wars definitely didn't sell well as it was $50 damn at launch. And FIFA 16, I assume there was just a big surplus left over once FIFA 17 came out.
Probably,
Thus, both FIFA and Mighty are going for less than $10 brand new these days. Though Angry Birds Star Wars, we got a 7-cent discount. So out of these three, you're either getting fucked over, or fucked over. For the family on a budget, could I see them getting their money's worth out of these games? Technically, sure. But if you're on a budget, get the hell out of here. If you want a cheap soccer game, honey, walk into a thrift store. For an Angry Birds game, they're free. And then Mighty Number 9, you know, it's not like unbelievably bad. It just has cheap as hell production value and incredibly mediocre design. But if this was your only game as a kid, it would probably suffice. But there are so many other options for gaming on a budget. Dollar stores give you the illusion of a deal when half the time the prices are more expensive there than other places. You just don't notice because you're distracted by the fact you're in a dollar store. Holy look at the price on that milk. But one thing I always remember seeing at Dollar General was the AtGames consoles for only $40.
Oh no. Not AtGames. Not them. Oh god, no. Not AtGames. AtGames is evil. They are a horrible company. I wish they'd stop existing. I mean, I don't wish that for companies at all, generally. But AtGames, I wish they'd stop existing. They are an awful company. I used to have before there was a Sega Genesis Mini a couple years ago, which was emulated, which the emulation was done by a company that's very good at doing emulation. I don't know if Sega produced the console or not, I forget, but before that, like back when the NES Classic was first coming out and the SNES Classic was about to come out, there was the Genesis Classic, and that was made by AtGames, and it was awful. It's no wonder why it was so much cheaper than the NES or SNES Classic. There was no quality control. It was awful. It had, on the box, it said there were 80 games, but really there were 40. There were 40 actual games that you could play on the Genesis back in the day. The other 40 games were just random BS filler games like chess, some kind of weird disc golf game, and checkers, and just random crap that they added in there to make it seem like there were more games than there actually were. And even worse was, although the Genesis Classic, you could put a Genesis cartridge in and play it, it usually wouldn't work if you did. It just wouldn't function. And the controllers were so bad. They had they were battery controllers, and they didn't come with batteries included. But to make things even worse, you couldn't just pop open the back door of it to put the batteries in. You had to actually take off some screws on it. Here's the problem. These screws were really specific screws. And at the time where I lived, I had one of those screwdrivers that had like multiple different ends that you could add to it. Not a single one of them worked on those screws. It was a very specific screw. So here's what I had to do. I had to pry the damn door open with the screwdriver instead of actually unscrewing it, because it was impossible to unscrew it. And I had to put the batteries in that way. Like, it was just so poorly designed. I can't believe they got away with selling that. And I'm glad Sega dropped them, finally. But AtGames apparently is still around. They more recently, after Sega dropped them, I guess sometime in 2019, made some kind of Namco play machine of some kind. AtGames, I'm sorry, I want AtGames to stop existing. They are scamming the hell out of people. I really hate that company. They have misleading packages saying that there's more than 40, there's 80 games, when in fact there's 40 and just a bunch of, and then 40 more filler games like chess. They're awful. And the fact that is there's Genesis Classics from back in the day, also itself just hardly worked. It was a very frustrating experience. They are an awful company. Oh gosh, I am not looking. I'm looking forward to Scott ripping their ass out. They are horrible.
This is the Dollar General exclusive edition with baseball included. I know, right? These plug-and-play systems, my jaw dropped when I saw them here. This was before retro gaming merchandise became as prevalent as it is today, so seeing Intellivision, ColecoVision, hell, Sega Genesis at a store like this was intense. Hey, this thing that you like that nobody's ever heard of? Yeah, here it is for sale in the most general store of them all. These are all done by AtGames, Walgreens' maid of honor. They would produce cheap plug-and-play systems based on retro consoles and sell them in stores like this. Stores that don't normally sell games, where the people rumming it would stop and say, "Hey, I remember that," and blow $40 on this thing they plug in once and never again. The Intellivision Classic Game Console. Like I said, this one proudly proclaims it's the Dollar General exclusive edition, coming with baseball. I will give it to them. It's designed pretty similarly to the original, but this one is so much more flimsy. Like, if I crack it over my knee, like, what the f***? Even the AV cables feel like the person making them had a gun pointed at them. Just cheap and rushed. When you open it up, like, this box should contain eggs, not Intellivision. I mean, what do you expect from a Dollar General console? I don't know, but I don't expect to be spending $40 on a Dollar General console. The Intellivision and Coleco systems are cute. Being more obscure consoles with unique controllers from the late 70s, early 80s makes these some of the better and easier ways to experience these games. As much as it pains me to say, Intellivision games need this controller. But I don't, I swear. Trying to play these on a compilation like Intellivision Lives on the Xbox is putrid. So these little guys have some worth. I don't know what they're doing here, though. You must have the thickest crotch in the world if you're willing to bet an estranged ColecoVision owner is walking into a Dollar General. Like, oh, yeah. I remember this. Well, nobody remembers you. The Sega Genesis classic game console makes a lot more sense. This is one of the most iconic retro systems out there. It was also $40, which I think just made these absolutely hilarious. Oh yeah, this one has dozens upon dozens of games like Sonic the Hedgehog and Mortal Kombat. Baseball. This AtGames Sega Genesis console isn't good, but it isn't great either. I do think this thing always got a bit too much hate. People will criticize how the emulation is off and the sound stinks. Half the games are literally just no-name whatever things that are like electronic versions of games you get on the back of cereal boxes. But this wasn't meant for people like us who notice or care about this. I've seen numerous people buy stuff.
Oh, yeah, there's that Namco one. I remember there being an issue where the back suggested that it was the arcade version of Pac-Man, but when you actually loaded it up, it sounded and looked like the NES version. So they lied about the quality of which version of Pac-Man they were playing on that, and yeah, there's just so much that AtGames does that's misleading. And so cheap in their design. God, I hate AtGames.
Stuff like, oh, this Pac-Man plug-and-play game console, and go, this reeks. The emulation smells bad. Also consider the fact these products are made for 50-year-olds who wouldn't notice if you stabbed them while playing this game, let alone the sound being pitched slightly up. I don't want to defend the poor quality, but the fact is, any of us who are complaining about these systems already have far better methods of playing these games. The target audience for these things would never notice or even care. But to be fair, this thing is
I guess I wasn't the target audience because I noticed and I cared and I hated it.
Packed with Genesis games, even including the Mortal Kombats, which is a really nice touch. The games play okay, they aren't amazing here, but for the amount of titles you get for a $40 impulse buy at the dollar store, this ain't the worst thing out there. I always found it really cool it accepts original Genesis cartridges, especially considering it made it 100% correct to say, I bought a Sega Genesis from Dollar General. The quality of this was never great, but it does the bare minimum. I think $40 is too much, but for $20, I think that's fair. It's an incredibly mediocre product, but does have some worth. Well, this is a Dollar General video game haul. I can't say that you wouldn't get time out of these purchases, but keep in mind, this all cost me over $150, which is why let's move straight on over to the gaming-related products at Dollar General. They have various hardcore gaming products for the aspiring gamer. Who the hell wants to be a gamer? Just do it. That's like saying, oh, I want to be unemployed. Outside of buying Halo and Call of Duty related toys, Doritos with a Call of Duty promotion, and gamer gear, there's not much else we can really do at Dollar General video game wise. Family Dollar, anyone? The box is here. They can't be far. You know, the more I go into Family Dollars, the more I question my motives. They did sell video games here. I know they did. I saw them selling nothing but 20 copies of Disney Infinity 3.0 game only for Wii U. That doesn't work! Not only are you playing with fire selling Wii U games in 2021, but you have the crotch to sell a game that doesn't work without accessories and nothing but that? Well, Five Below fares a bit better here. They almost always have a video game section. Like, what do you call that? Jackpot. Five Below similarly has the video games that wouldn't sell elsewhere. Currently, the selection is Starlink, Battle for Atlas for PS4, Darksiders 2 for Xbox 360, and FIFA 20 and Elder Scrolls Online for Xbox One, all at $5 a pop. Son of a bitch. Now, Starlink is another Toys to Life game like Disney Infinity, though I think it makes more sense here considering the game can be played without the toys, much like how Guitar Hero can be played without the guitar. That doesn't mean it's worth much on its own. Darksiders 2 for Xbox 360. I have biting analysis for why this is here. You know, I frequent this Five Below, and they always have Darksiders 2. They used to have Birthday Party Bash on Wii and Darksiders 2. Now they just have Darksiders 2. Well, we know it's more in demand now. FIFA 20. Okay, how is 25 here and 1610 there? Then finally, Elder Scrolls Online. They give this away in Happy Meals at this point. Most online-only games are like this. They plummet in value, especially when new versions and expansions come out. I know Battleborn was a hot ticket item at Five Below. Now it's unplayable. And I bet some Five Belows are still selling it. But hey, there was a time a few years back where
Watch.
Nintendo games made their way over here. Yeah, never priced my games below $2,000 Nintendo. They never price drop, which made these games popping up here absolutely shocking. I saw Yokai Watch, Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes, all here $5 a piece. And then 10 copies of Star Fox Zero because 11 was too much. And hey, say what you will about these games. Okay, I hate Star Fox Zero, but for $5, brand new copies, that's a steal. And I mean, I've seen Guitar Hero Live and Skylanders Imaginators on Wii U here for $5 a pop, brand new in the original box. Animal Crossing Amiibo, same price. There can be some actually good deals here. Just don't quit your day job waiting for them. So what was the point of this? Well, I always found it interesting to see how stores like these treat video games. As a kid, I always found it incredibly exciting to see video games at a store that didn't usually sell stuff like that. Going to GameStop was a luxury back then. I only really went when my parents were going to a different store that was nearby GameStop. So to see these products, as lame as they are, at stores that I went to more frequently, there's this really neat feeling about it that is really hard to describe. However, it's obvious dollar stores are more interested in selling prepaid phones than Nintendo Switch games.
Yeah.
Okay. Though you can still get video game related merchandise at these stores. Like Five Below sells a lot of pro gamer gear. Dollar Tree, they sold a Fortnite sticker album. No stickers included. What else did they sell me? Authentic casino played cards, pills, and Donald Duck lemonade. There's something always fun about seeing what these stores deem as sellable. But let's disregard dollar stores for a bit. Let's talk discount pharmacies. You ever go to Rite Aid? Oh, you could always find video games at Rite Aid. And I found some local.
I don't see them very much at CVS.
First up, we have Dance Sensation on Wii.
I remember back in the Wii area, there was something called a V, I think, VII, at CVS. They were very common there. It was basically a Wii ripoff. Never bothered with it because I already had a Wii. I was like, why would I want some ripoff of it? But yeah, those are common at CVS, the V.
For $19.99. Puss in Boots on Wii for $19.99. Build-A-Bear Workshop Friendship Valley for $19.99. Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings on Nintendo DS for $19.99.
Wow.
And Bakugan Battle Brawlers on Wii for $14.99. Good discount. Altogether with tax, this cost me roughly over $100 at Rite Aid. And I found all these video games brand new sealed on eBay for $46.
Oops.
I'll stick to FIFA.
Yeah. Typically, if you want a good deal, you go online. You don't really go to the stores. I mean, you'll find something like, actually, even at GameStop, you could find good deals there too. I don't know if it's for every GameStop, but all the ones in my area, as far as I know, have this little, glass case that has a bunch of used DS and 3DS games, and you could get them for really cheap there, like $10. In fact, that's where I actually got some of my games that I have in my 2DS. Yokai Watch, I believe I got at a GameStop for a discount. Like a year or two ago, I forget. Oh, a couple years ago, I think. And there's a bunch of other stuff. Actually, interestingly enough, in that same section, I saw both Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story for DS and the remake for 3DS, and I was contemplating which one to get because at the time the 3DS remake had just come out. I got neither. But now that I've learned a lot, thanks to Ant Dude, now that I've learned a lot more about the series, since he had a compilation of all his reviews of it, of the series, I think when I was considering getting the much cheaper original DS game, I should have gotten that because the 3DS remake is apparently like a lot worse. It would have been. I kind of wonder how things would have been. Now that I'm off subject now, but I'm kind of wondering how things would have been for Alpha Dream if they actually would have instead released the Bowser's Inside Story remake on Switch. Maybe they actually would have done okay. Maybe they'd still be around. I don't know. It's possible they might not have been because of a lack of quality on the remake compared to the original, but I don't know, maybe they would have done a little better, because releasing the remake for 3DS when the Switch was already out and in its prime, like, that was too risky. The Switch is selling so well. I mean, I think it's already sold more than the 3DS has, and the 3DS sold pretty well too. Although at the time, I don't know if it had sold more units than them at the time. But anyways, moving on. Yeah, you'd be surprised what kind of deals you could find at some stores. And yeah, I didn't even know there were dollar store gaming. Although I've never really considered Dollar General to be really a dollar store. Like I remember when we had one here in Santa Rosa, a lot of things there were more than $1. I was like, is this really a dollar store? And I kind of just thought it's called Dollar General because it's generally $1. It's generally you'll find stuff for $1, but you won't necessarily find stuff for $1. Like that name makes perfect sense when you think about that. And like I said, I've literally only seen, I think, just one Family Dollar in my entire life, and I believe it was in Oakland. It might have been further away from here. I'm not sure. I've seen Dollar Trees all over the place. There's so many of them in this area. So many of them. There's also the 99-cent only store, which is not 99 cents anymore. We have one just south in Roanoke Park, just one town south in Roanoke Park. Great store, by the way. But it's not 99 cents only anymore. There's a lot of stuff that's more than that. And yeah, the Dollar Tree adding stuff that's more than $1 was very recent, like this year, I think, which I think has a lot to do with the pandemic, to be honest, because of the economic downturn of, have people having a shelter in place and stuff for a while. But, anyways, that's actually pretty cool. You can find all those games there. Some of those games he found were pretty good, like Elder Scrolls. I mean, I since it's an online one, I guess it's probably not that great, but that is pretty impressive, though. I honestly didn't know there was dollar store gaming. You could find games at, well, dollar stores are not really a dollar. I guess bargain stores. But, I mean, yeah, like I said, even at GameStop, you can find deals. It's just games that came out like a long time ago. And actually, what's really cool is not too far from here. It's a little less than 2 hours northeast of here is where Lake County is, and the town of Clear Lake. There's a really cool video game store called Video Game Hub, and they have so many. No, it's just called the Game Hub, I think. They have so many video games there. It's amazing. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, they don't have PC games, but they do have Switch. They have Wii U. They have 3DS. They have DS. They have PS3, PS2, PS4. I'm pretty sure they have PS1. I've bought N64 games there before. Yeah, they have PS1. I know that. They have Super Nintendo, NES. They have basically all the consoles, all the major consoles that ever existed. I think they even have Dreamcast. They have Genesis. I don't recall if they have Saturn there, or Master System. I don't know if they had TurboGrafx 16 games. I didn't see those, or Neo Geo ones. But yeah, they had all the Xboxes, and there were actually classic consoles you can buy there. Well, not the original classics. It was like the Retron 5 or whatever, which has like the NES, SNES, Atari, and Genesis or something like that. Oh yeah, I think they had Atari games there too. But yeah, it's a really amazing store, and they plus they have playing cards like Magic the Gathering and stuff, and they have board games and so on. Before the pandemic, I'd actually see people set up there and playing their board games together there, which is kind of cool. It's a really cool place. It's a place you just wouldn't expect to be in Lake County, because Lake County, the population's more sparse there. There's really nothing going on there. It's a pretty boring area, which is why it's one of the more affordable parts of California, which is a little less than 2 hours away from here. While I'm here in Santa Rosa, which is very expensive because it's so close to San Francisco. We're only an hour north of San Francisco, and it only takes about, I guess I'd say about 20 minutes, depending where you're coming from Santa Rosa. It takes about 20 minutes to go west to Bodega Bay, which is a beautiful which is a beach town. Beautiful there, actually, and actually still part of Sonoma County here. But surprisingly, Bodega Bay is a lot cheaper than here because I guess there's just not much population there, not much going on except for the beach, which is why I kind of hope someday maybe I could live there just so I can be near the beach all the time. It's still, considered expensive there, but not as much as here. But anyway, here in my hometown of Santa Rosa, there used to be a game store called High Tech Game Center, which I loved going to in my childhood in the 90s and as well as a teenager in the 2000s. I forget when it happened, sometime in like 2006 or something, it went out of business. Across the street from there used to be a KFC, but that KFC is long gone. I guess moved to a different location because it wasn't. Usually KFCs are along the freeway. This was not along the freeway at all. It became a Cafe de Croissants, which is a local chain of croissants and bagels, which is really good. And then it became something else called Soko Coffee or something. But yeah, there was a high-tech game center across the street from that. But anyway, that high-tech game center was awesome. It had so many games from classic consoles and new consoles at the time. Went out of business in about 2006, I think. Not too long after, it was like a lingerie store. Now it's I don't know what it is now, but it's something else. Yeah, there used to be a lot of great like classic game stores. Like Funco Land was a lot of fun. That got replaced by GameStop. There used to be Babbage's, which is now GameStop. eBay Games, which is now GameStop. But yeah, you never know. I doubt at the Dollar Trees that are in my area I'll find any good games there because they really do keep it to be $1. I mean, now there's some that are a little more than $1, but I doubt I'll find a good game there. The cheapest game I could think of I ever got was back in the 2000s. I think it was like 2005 or something. There were the Burger King games. I got one on the original Xbox, and it was like $5 or something to have that added to my Burger King meal or whatever kind it was. And for a cheap $5 game, it was actually pretty fun. It was the Pocket Bike Racer game. It was pretty fun actually. Let's see. Just thinking of other discounts. I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah, I do recall during the 90s, Jack in the Box had, I was able to get the PC version of Sonic 3D Blast, a PC version of Sonic and Knuckles, which was actually a PC disc that had Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Sonic and Knuckles, as well as Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, which was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, when you have Sonic 3 and Knuckles, do you really need the other two? Not really, but it was still pretty awesome. It also had a way to access the Blue Sphere thing where you just play a bunch of Blue Sphere levels. And then I also got the PC version of Bug, which is a game I want to get my hands on. I haven't played that game in forever, but it was a really fun game, actually. It was really cool. I think it originally came out for the Sega Saturn, but then was also released on PC. Really fun game. It was really challenging, at least back then. Maybe if I played it now, I probably wouldn't find it that hard, but back then I found it to be really challenging. Okay, what was I going to add? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed my Reacts video. Happy Thanksgiving. This please spread the word of this video, as well as check out my other Scott DeWaz Reacts videos. I have a lot of them. And check out my other stuff. I have original content like my Sonic movie review I uploaded earlier this year. I worked really hard on that, as well as a compilation of my comedy videos I made from 2009 to 2020. So, and not to mention, yeah, as you can see, we have our couch set up. It's actually great. We have furniture here now. It's not just standing over the counter to eat or record now. So that's really awesome. And there's better lighting here too than in the kitchen. I don't know why. There was the lights were bright there, but for some reason my face was really shaded for some reason. But here seems to be a lot better with the lamp right there. But that said, I want to show off the shirt. That said, thank you so much for watching. This new apartment we just moved into is becoming a home. The furniture is wonderful. It's amazing. Anyways, thank you so much.